some reason, the Ottomans, when they built the wall some 500 years ago, they left it out. The wall is going over there, but throughout history, from First Temple time period, by the way, late First Time period, Mount Zion was already part of Jerusalem, and so in Jesus' times, we're in the city of Jerusalem, inside the walls of the city of Jerusalem. You saw the Zion gate. We didn't mention that Jerusalem has 7 gates. Most of them, the old city, most of them are named after the next big destination you would arrive if you live through this gate. So the one that is pointing to the west is Jaffa gate, because this is the biggest city to the west. The one to the north is Damascus or Nablus gate. And this one is Zion gate, because you're moving from here to Zion. As we walk by, you see how it's dotted with bullet holes. This is from the 48 war. The Jewish quarter was under siege of the Jordanians, and there were many attempts to break into the Jewish quarter to come to their help. Eventually, at the same day, the state of Israel was declared. The Jewish quarter fell into the hands of the Jordanians. And it's one of 16 settlements, Jewish settlements, that had to be evacuated, or those people became refugees. Well, just to... There were 400 villages of the Palestinians, but, you know. And then we're visiting Mount Zion to visit 2 important sites that are linked in their history. One is the room, the upper room. When they're gathering for the Last Supper, they're not gathering for the Last Supper. They're gathering for the Passover meal, and it's a celebration the Jews have to commemorate, to retell. That's the meaning of the holiday. When you retell, you tell your children the story of the Exodus, of the time that the Jews were enslaved by the Egyptians and were taken out from Egypt, brought to the Promised Land by Moses. That's the story of Passover. And they were gathering for this Jewish holiday. And they met in the upper room on Mount Zion. Mount Zion was the center of the early Christian community at the time of Jesus and right after the time of Jesus. And we're going to visit the upper room. The upper room of today is a Crusader space. It was built some 900 years ago, but it sits on the location of a Byzantine place that sits on the location, according to tradition, of the home of this Last Supper that took place here Thursday night, or the gathering for the Passover. Later on, we said if this was Friday, if this was Thursday, Friday is where he will be crucified. Sunday, he's not there anymore. He's roaming Galilee for 40 days, and then he comes to the Mount Olive for the Ascension. Now, for the Jewish people within us, there is a Jewish holiday coming 7 weeks after Passover. Another holiday where the Jews are called upon to come to Jerusalem as on a pilgrimage. This is Shavuot. Shavuot. 7 weeks after Passover. 7 weeks are 49 days or 50 days. So they're gathering again here. And this time the one who would lead them, Jesus is not with them anymore, right? The one who would lead them in this Jewish holiday again is St. Peter's. Because he is the one that was appointed in this period of 40 days. He's meeting with the disciples up in the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee. I'll point out to you the place when we drive by there later this week. There's a site that is called Mensa Christi. He's dining there with the disciples, and he's appointing St. Peter's to be the rock upon which the church will be built. So when they're meeting here for another Jewish holiday of Shavuot, St. Peter's would lead them. And this is where a big miracle happens. They all start to speak in different tongues, in different languages. People see this as a miracle, and many join them. That's the first wave of people joining to this new group. They're not Christians yet. They just experienced something that was beyond nature, but they see themselves as Jews yet. They're not Christians yet. They don't see themselves. They just experienced something that changed their life. But so they're being joined by many. And this miracle of the speaking in all these tongues is the Pentecost. That is in the Christian tradition. But they were not gathering for the Pentecost, they were gathering for Shavuot. Okay, so these two events took place here on Mount Zion, and the room we're going to visit is for those two. Then, in this meeting, St. Peter says something strange. He tells them, here with us is the tomb of King David. In his address to the public. We don't know if he's already sort of reciting an existing tradition back then, or he's creating this tradition, but it's a long-lived Jewish tradition that Mount Zion is also the burial place of King David. By the way, it's contradicting the words of the Bible. The Bible tells us that he was buried at the city of David, which is down the hill over there. We drove by it. But it's a tradition. So in this space, we have the upper room, and right underneath it is a synagogue that is the burial site, according to Jewish tradition, of King David. Now, over this space, there was a lot of struggle under the Muslim period here between the Christians and the Jews. Both wanted this space, because for one it was King David's tomb, for the other it was the upper room. And it changes hands several times between the Christians and the Jews, until the Muslims say enough is enough, and they say if you can work it out, we'll turn it into a mosque. And this place turns into a mosque. And it is a mosque all the way to 48. In 48, the Jordanians are holding the old city, and the Jews are holding this area, Israel is holding this area, and this room becomes a room that is open for everybody. You can come, you can worship, and you can do whatever, as a Muslim, as a Jew, as a Christian, as long as you don't offend the other religion. And this is this current situation on this room right now, and it's open for everybody. You can see when you step in the room some evidence of the time it was a church. I'm going to point out to you some Christian symbolism in the room that was not, the Muslims who cleared the room were not aware of it, so they left it there. There is the mahrab, the structure that indicates the direction of the prayer that exists in every mosque. The prayers are towards Mecca, so here it would be to the southern wall. And there is, as you step in, there is a niche for a mezuzah. Mezuzah is something that has to be in every Jewish home. Every space that is being used by Jews has to have the, so on the door stepping in, there won't be a mezuzah, but there would be a niche in the wall for where the mezuzah used to be. So this room was like in different. The Pope had a visit to this place in 2000. He had the mass here. He wanted to leave something behind him, but he couldn't leave a cross or something that would be offensive towards the Muslim or the Christian or the Jews. So he left the statue there. I want you to see the statue and tell me how we sneaked into the room this Christian symbolism without offending anybody. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Upper room, not supper.
Where is, what is it? A lamb?
Lamp.
Lamp or
The base
lamb?
of the lamp.
There is a lamb, the base of the lamb. I've practiced this right. There, the cheeks are feeding from the beak of the grown birds. It looks like they're feeding from the flesh of the bird. And this is very typical Crusaders symbolism of Jesus. People are feeding on his foot. Yes, right. The Muslims were not aware of the Christians here. Same structure, the lower level is the tomb of King David. And this place again is arranged as a synagogue. Around the tomb it's divided. There is a men's section and a women's section. So the women could go, the women's section get all the way to the tomb, the men would go through the synagogue with me and get to the other side of the same sort of monument there, and we'll walk through the synagogue. So the men would have to cover their head with a hat or with a yarmulke that they have there. Okay, and we'll meet back here in 5 minutes.